Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video. I'm going to talk about Transformers. I'm going to talk about how localizers ruin everything. They ruin everything. Can you believe that localizers changed the gender of a Transformer to suit their audience's demographic a little bit better? Can you believe this? Can you believe the audacity of these people to take it upon themselves to change the gender of a Transformer to better suit their target audience? So this is funny. So remember Nightshade, right? Nightshade from Transformers Earthspark. That's about the only thing I remember from Transformers Earthspark. That and Megatron was a good guy or some crazy crap like that. The outrage over Nightshade. They made Nightshade non-binary, and it wasn't even that Nightshade was non-binary. It was that they were so in your face about it. It was like a freaking PSA in the middle of the show. They have a whole conversation about Nightshade's sexuality. Well, apparently in Japan, the localizers in Japan decided that Nightshade apparently is just a chick, and that's it. Nightshade got misgendered by the localizers in Japan. I think it's kind of funny given all the stuff we've been talking about lately. That, with Western localizers changing things, and the Japanese are even like, yeah, this non-binary Transformer, that's not going to fly. So we're just going to assign a gender to it, and people are mad. I think it's kind of funny. We're gonna talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. I am actually a huge Transformers fan, not a big fan of Earthspark. I'm completely indifferent because, look, the newer Transformers series, most of them are obviously for smaller children, right? That being said, people had concerns when they started injecting, gender politics and identity politics into a kid's cartoon about robots that turn into cars and stuff. And they've been doing this in the comics lately too. The IDW was infamously doing this. Like, they were literally putting the trans in Transformers, and now people are furious with Skybound because they're just doing Transformers, like 80s Transformers. There's a whole conversation by conversation, I mean, people screaming. There are a lot of people screaming on Twitter about the fact that RC has boobs, even though in G1 she had boobs. And they're not really boobs. I don't think they function as boobs. They're just metal, round pieces of metal on her body, right? But IDW made her trans, and they made her like she was forced into being trans because of Shockwave or some crazy crap like that. Like, that is just weird. That's just really, really weird. But anyway, Earthspark came out. Nightshade was a they, them, and the human characters had a whole conversation with Nightshade about it. And apparently Japan's not having it. So this comes from comicbook.com. I actually got the original story from the Western Journal. And I missed this. How did I miss this? Because I just don't care anymore, I think is how I missed it. But I saw it come up the other day. Transformers new dub sparks debate over Nightshade's apparent misgendering. Earthspark is back in the news after everybody forgot it existed, right? The adorable animated series went live in 2022, and Paramount Plus has a second season on the way. Since its launch, the Hasbro project has shed new light on the Autobots. Both new and old characters like Nightshade drew close attention when it was revealed they were non-binary, but now a new dub of the show seems to have misgendered them. Let's break it down. The whole controversy hit the Transformers fandom this weekend after a fan pointed out that the Japanese dub of Transformers Earthspark, they learned that Nightshade's non-binary identity is overlooked. Of course, this prompted cries of malicious censorship, but there's more to the story. Let's see what the original thing. Scene regarding Nightshade's gender has been completely removed. Yeah, I thought it was kind of, I'm going to be honest, let's look and see what's going on here, but I think it was kind of out of place. It was very like PSA. It was kind of like they did this in, I think it was like Jake and the Neverland Pirates or something, where they were like breaking the fourth wall, and they spent like 5 minutes talking about, gender identity in a show targeted toward preschoolers. And I gotta think Japan's just looking at this like, we're not going to do this. We're not doing this. Of course, this prompted cries of malicious censorship. Just ask any multilingual person, they'll tell you translating is hard. Oh, this is interesting. This is coming from Megan Peters, by the way, on comicbook.com, who I actually think is a pretty good journalist. I think she covers anime, and I think she's actually pretty good. But this kind of dovetails with the whole localizer conversation, doesn't it? Translating is hard. With so many languages in the world, it's difficult to find one-for-one matches whenever a translation is needed. For decades, localization has been used by translators to help get meaning across when direct translations don't work. After all, language is different, and that's true for Japanese. The language does have some gendered pronouns, but they aren't used in the same way that English does. For instance, first-person pronouns like I are gendered in Japan. Reportedly, Transformers Earthspark uses the pronoun boku when referring to Nightshade, and this pronoun is considered masculine. Also, they made Nightshade a dude. Boku, wasn't that the name of the chocobo from Final Fantasy V? I think it was. When it comes to language and translations, things are easy to mix up, and Japanese pronouns are very different from English ones. The majority of Japanese conversations omit pronoun use entirely and lean on neutral terms when they're called for. In English, specifically for LGBTQ members, pronouns are incredibly important to get right. Yes, if you don't get them right, you will hear about it from Twitter. So as you can see, the localization difference has struck a nerve stateside. Representation matters to some people. I mean, look, if you're being malicious about it or you're teasing people or whatever, that's a totally different story. In this case, this was not an intentional thing, but the Japanese were like, yeah, it's a dude. Nightshade's misgendered. It's a dude. That's funny. I mean, it's kind of funny because everybody's like, the same people that are going to... So here's where it gets interesting. The same people that are going to complain that this was malicious, this was done intentionally by the Japanese, that the localizers need to stop changing our shit, are the same people that will vehemently defend Western localizers who insert modern day political talking points into dubs. It's a little hypocritical, but let's see if there are some juicy retweets here. I gotta see. Scene regarding Nightshade's gender has been completely removed. A lot of people in different languages. I don't think this has really hit. English yet. English Twitter yet. That's interesting. Yeah, so this is why I haven't heard about it. Nobody else seems to be talking about it except for comicbook.com had one comment on it. So there you go, guys. This might be new to you. Yeah, Nightshade is a dude in Japan because they don't know what else to do with Nightshade. Now, do I think that there probably was something else going on? Yeah. So they're saying the scene is completely removed. So it's not just about the pronouns. It's the fact they took that scene out, which I thought was really, I'll be honest, I thought that was really out of place. Like, let's have a heart-to-heart about gender identity, because then they would be forced to deal with it. They're like, nah, it's just Boku. It's a dude. Nightshade's a dude. We're going to take that scene out. End of discussion. And Zoe Sight is a chick. In the U.S., end of discussion. And they're just cousins, Uranus and Neptune. They're just cousins. End of discussion. Unfortunate, but I can't say it wasn't expected. It is possible it was merely cut for time. Yeah, it's possible. They probably looked at it. It might have been cut for time. They might have been like, what is the most useless, pointless scene in this episode? Oh, the 4-minute heart-to-heart about gender identity and pronoun usage, which doesn't apply to Japan anyway, and or we don't want it. Since their splitting of these episodes into 2 parts means the scenes have been trimmed to accommodate for the intros and outros. This is a good point this guy's bringing up. So localization is wrong now. That's not what the localizers told me. You got to localize stuff for the sensibilities of others. Don't tell me localization is wrong. I couldn't handle that. Fuck you, you tourist. I made dozens of tweets praising the Japanese dub of this show. One single tweet being critical of it, and you're all like, so localization is wrong. So localization is right. You can praise some aspects of a piece of media while being critical of others. It's called having a nuanced opinion. Now we want nuanced opinions, right? No, I mean, I think this is basically Japan dealing with it the way they want to deal with it. And again, if it works, this is the way it works in the U.S., right? Right? So Japan can do this. They're allowed to do this, right? They're allowed to take things out. I think it was just, yeah, they're like, hey, this is going to confuse kids. We're going to have to try to explain English pronouns to Japanese kids, and also it's pointless. It's a very pointless addition to the show. It's a dude. Deal with it. Nightshade's a dude. That's it. Nightshade's been misgendered. So there we go, guys. There we go. Nightshade in Japan is a dude. That is it. The localizers have spoken, and we know the localizers are always right because they always do what's best for their audiences, right? So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.